All right, Film Friday. About damn time, huh? Okay, so I'm just I have no script or anything. I haven't planned what to say, so I'm just being totally organic here with what I'm going to be talking about for the Northman. Uh Honestly, I don't know what movie could top this movie for this year. I'm not sure. And honestly, this is a movie that didn't feel like it had any um, messages or is preaching to you. Unlike the Batman, even though the Batman wasn't preachy, there were like subtle messages that you can tell. But this one has no messaging or anything like that. It gets straight into the Viking culture. The first act, wow, the way how it ends just sets off the whole thing. And this is it's a revenge plot. The story is about revenge, about the main guy. I forgot his name. I really forgot his name, but he he's set to go after this guy, I believe, who is his uncle, and to get his revenge on him because he killed his father. The uncle killed his father. The uncle killed his brother, and took his mother. And basically, the boy who ends up becoming, this berserker, which he does, he becomes a berserker once he's grown up. Uh, he he was the prince. His father was the king, and his mother was the queen. Until the uncle, decided to kill his brother, which was the former king. And I mean, wow. But you get to see with these acts, and this movie is just, it's separated by acts, and it doesn't get, it's slow to burn. But don't let that discourage you from seeing this movie, because there are some pretty interesting scenes in each act. And when it all leads up to the climax of the movie, it doesn't shy away. It never really shied away. That movie was very R-rated. It would, I just, it gives you a lot. It just gives you the stuff that you don't see in movies nowadays. Where I could say and I'm gonna spoil a lot of this, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up. But there was a scene when he's all grown up, and he's going into this town. He's invading this village with his brethren, and they're donning, like, they're berserkers. They're gonna mess stuff up. They're like going straight in and just causing mayhem. And they have like this wolf skin over them, and they're acting like beasts. They're acting like wolves, basically howling and all that. And they're just massacring guys left and right. And towards the end of that, like, plundering and just invade that whole invasion, I didn't know. I mean, I knew they were gonna use the women and children as slaves, but I was totally thrown to a 360 angle, man, where they took the kids and they put them into this house. They locked the door, and I'm thinking, okay, they're not gonna, they're gonna be doing whatever, right, with them. Yeah, they're throwing torches on the fucking. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but they're throwing torches on the house with the kids in them, burning them alive. I'm just like, holy cow, man. I mean, I think that was, and that's still early on in the movie, but that's like the second act. That's like the second act right there, and you could see, like, you can see, like, some of the women. They show like one woman Viking in there, and she's saying, like, I don't want weak ones, I want strong ones. And that's the only time I can count there was an actual, like, berserker Viking. She didn't make, like, she wasn't in, like, the main spotlight. She was just passing along with, like, while she was on the horse. But you could tell that this character, when he's growing up, he's seen some stuff and he's done some stuff. But his thing was that he didn't directly like kill women and children. That's his whole thing. He doesn't kill women and children. He only kills men. And I think I forgot to mention this, but the guy who plays the main protagonist, he is the brother of Pennywise, the guy who played as Pennywise. I legit didn't know they were brothers. I knew that his last name was Skarsgård, but I was thinking like it was just be any celebrity. I mean, not a lot of celebrities have, but it could be a celebrity just with a similar last name, but it's not him. And I could tell but when I was watching the movie, I could tell I'm looking at him like, is this the guy who plays Pennywise? Because he looks almost like him. Only to find out, do my own little research, that he's the brother of the guy who played as Pennywise. So I mean, just holy cow, and that guy was super jacked. I mean, you want to talk about Ben Affleck being like muscular? Man, he compares nothing to the Skarsgård guy. That dude was ripped. I mean, holy cow, he looked the part. You could tell he was dedicated to that role because he wanted that role. And then just the way how he's acting and acting like just this beastly nature and all that, man, I was just holy cow. But after the whole plundering and invasion goes on, after all that, he's visited by one of the Norse deities, I think. I don't know all of them by heart. But it's like this woman who's like plucking something, not feathers, but she's plucking something. And she's telling him that, like, hey, you remember that promise you gave to your father that you would avenge him if you were to die in battle? It's your time to go find the guy who killed your father. And so that basically that sets off the motion of him returning back to his homeland. Well, I think so. Yeah, returning back to his homeland years later, just to find the guy. And it's like that. I didn't really mind the fate and destiny trope in there, because I thought it was done pretty well, especially for a revenge plot. And it's simple, but it's not stupidly simple like how the modern movies are nowadays. It makes sense. It's not trying to be all out there and everything. Willem Dafoe is in it, but he doesn't play a huge part. He plays I'd say an adequate part, where he's like this jester, but he's not a jester. He's like the soothsayer who tells him what's going on and all that. But he only had 2-3 parts, if I remember correctly, 2 or 3 parts. Which I kind of find funny, because the guy who directed the movie, Willem Dafoe, was one of the main characters in the previous movie called The Lighthouse, which was directed by the same guy. So I found that was kind of cool to have him in there. And Willem Dafoe, he does an excellent job playing as a crazy bastard. So, but that goes into Act 3. We're getting to Act 3, where he blends in. He turns himself into a slave and acts like a slave just to get closer to his uncle. And he gets to that land. He gets to Iceland and finds out that his uncle is not really king anymore, because there's some other Norse king that invaded him and won, and his uncle was forced to become like a farmer, even though he's like a top-notch farmer, because he has his own men and everything. So I don't know, I was kind of expecting the kingdom to be there. I mean, I expected him to come back to the kingdom and see the old stuff, and we can kind of see little flashbacks, but not too much. But I'm fine with this decision. I really am. I don't really think it's it didn't hurt the movie at all, but it does make me wonder. But he finds that okay, his first son, who is now older, because the first time the first time that we do see the son, the older son, was when he was legit an infant. So he's older, But we find out that he also has a second son that's that's like 6 or 7 years old, maybe, I don't know. And of course, that means that his mother gave birth to a half brother. So the second son is his half brother, and he he's working with this witch. I presume a witch or something like that. And she's working, she's working with him, but she knew like he was a berserker and all that, and because towards the end of the second act and the beginning of the third act, he gets on he gets onto a ship. He sneaks onto a ship and disguises himself as a slave, and the witch could tell like, hey, yeah, I know what you are. You're a berserker, but I don't really care that much. But if we can work together, we can work together. That's basically how it went. And so they're throughout the acts they're working together, and they're thinking of like how to sabotage stuff and for he can get his revenge. And I think that was a really nice duo. It didn't feel like she was like holding him down, not like she wasn't a burden to him. She was like right on par, like, okay, what you're gonna do this, but what about this? What if we do this or that? And she would, it's like she was actually pulling her own weight too. It wasn't like he was doing the whole thing, which I respected, and she wasn't trying to. She wasn't really trying to stop him. There was one part of it, but it made sense though why she would try to, was trying to stop him. But it wasn't like, oh, please don't do this, don't do that, like it wasn't like that tropey of when I get to that part, if I remember. But you can like tell that like the mysticism of it, like the the rituals and all that, that was that was kind of like the driving force of the movie, where it's like this fate and destiny. And and there's like, I can't remember this, towards the middle of the third or fourth act, where he is selected to be a part of this game, where it's like think of hockey, but without the ice, and you're just I don't want to, like street hockey. Think of street hockey, but you're on a plane, you're on a field of grass, and you have like these two columns, one on your ally side and one on the enemy side, and you gotta use this ball and stick, and you hit the ball onto that column, and then that's how you get the score and all that. That's basically what was going on. And they were in this game, and the guys were like punching each other, kicking each other, getting the upper edge, and until like there's him and this big beefy dude who's like relentless, and he over on the sidelines, you got the uncle, his mother, the two sons, and some other people. And the youngest son, the half brother, he's getting upset that his team is losing, and he goes out into the field, and the guy, this big beefy dude that's been punching and kicking the shit out of our main character, he pushes the boys hard, like so hard down to the ground, like the boy's kind of like unconscious, and he's bleeding, and he puts the ball right next to the boy's skull, and he's about to slam that ball right into his skull with the stick. But the main character comes in and saves the day, and like just keeps and just punching the shit out of him, like wham 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 wham, until he like dies. I'm like, holy cow. And everyone's like, the royals, well, not the royals, but then I don't know, the farmers, the top farmers, whatever, the uncle and the mother and all that, they rush over to the son and saying like, hey, are you okay, this, and he wakes up and he's like, did we win? And everyone's relieved. So this earns towards the end of that act, this earns him the right to be like, he's still a slave, but he's like a top tier slave now. So he's like commanding what the slaves do, what to do, when to do it, and that. So that, and he that basically earns him like loyalty points basically, because and the first son is the one who like says to him like, hey, here's the reward of of saving my brother. So do what we tell you, and enjoy this this newfound power of yours. You're still a slave. You won't earn your freedom, but you don't have to clean the toilets or basically like that. So this is where it starts beginning to get into the revenge now, where he finds I think it's earlier, I can't remember, but I think in that same act he finds a witch. He finds another witch, which ends up to be like the friend of Willem Dafoe's character, and he's telling him where to find his sword, and his sword is like forged by 3 men, but it can only be drawn out at night. It can't be used at day. And he tells him where to find this sword. So he goes to this giant hill, and the moon is above him, just right there. And he, puts the rope around. He makes like a little post. I guess that's the word I'm thinking of. A little post, and he puts the rope around it. It goes down this into this cavern, and finds like there's swords and shields over here, and in this throne, there's like this skeleton, and in the skeleton's grasp is the sword, of course. So he goes up to it, grabs the sword, tries to pull it, doesn't come off easily, and the skeleton gets up. This warrior skeleton gets up and starts fighting him, and he's losing until he gets pushed over into the moonlight, and notices like the skeleton is avoiding the moonlight and just like goes to the side to get to him. So he's using all types of the weapons that he can find on the ground, like the shield and the swords, and he's able to push the skeleton into the moonlight, and it's weakened, and he kills it. And so this kind of pulls him out of this trance where his hand is still on the sword, but the skeleton is there and on the throne. So it was like kind of like I said, like a trance, some like mental battle against like the sword. Like to see the sword is like if he's worthy enough to wield the sword. So he gets the sword. He gets out of that cavern, and he almost gets spotted by the uncle and some of his men, because the dog, he's hiding in the bushes, he's kind of like hiding in the bushes or around the corner, and dog sees him, and he's barking at him, but he makes this he makes this expression, this like growling expression, and like the dog quiets down. And a little bit of mysticism to that I forgot to mention is like towards the beginning of the movie, the theme of his character is like he's like this wolf. He's been called he's like been called a cub, and then after he grows up, he's like becomes this wolf. And that's when he's a berserker, when he was doing his berserking days, he had like the wolf skin on him and everything. So he's like this lone wolf basically. So the dog shuts up and like just goes to the master, and they walk away, and no incidents avoided. So he hides the sword on in this like little house made of hay or grass or whatever the hell it is. The next day comes, they resume the stuff, and he's talking to the lady witch, and they enact the plan. So on that night, uh, everyone's partying or getting drunk or whatever. These two guys come out, and they're friends of the first son. They're friends of the first son of the farmer, and they're about to go into this house, and he goes in there and he's like, you two are gonna be the first of something, and he kills him. But on the next morning, you see the results of what he did, and it's so gory because he not only did he chop them to pieces, he put them, like, he put their body parts, he nailed their body parts onto that house, onto the front of the house where everyone could see. And then the farmer's first son is like wailing and is like, "Who did it? Is it one of you?" And he's like, man, they were all thinking like they're cursed because this old woman, this old soothsayer, I guess you can say, she's like, this isn't the result of a man, this is the result of a curse. So they're thinking it's a curse, and they're getting stuff ready, and they're gonna sacrifice this one woman, this one slave girl. And he, of course, this is taking place at night, so he takes out his sword, and he just, I can't remember, I don't think he kills the woman. I don't think he kills the old woman. He ties her up, and he blinds her and ties her up. That's the result of it. And he saves the other, he saves the slave girl. But I can't remember if he killed someone else. But they find her, and oh yes, he did. He did kill someone else. I don't know who he killed, but it was like some guy hanging upside down with his guts exposed, right above the old soothsayer. And they're like, okay, looks like whatever is attacking us rejected the offering. And so this leads into the next night where he's howling. Like, he's howling like a wolf, and this causes the farmer's dog to start barking, and then it causes like the nearby wolves to start like rushing into the village, not the village, but rushing into the farmland. And the guards are getting attacked. That's all that's getting attacked is the guards. And the dog, the farmer's the uncle's dog bites, is attacking him, but he has to kill it in there. And so he silently makes his way to where his mother is being held at, and she's revealing to him, like, yeah, I didn't care much about your father. Your father was a rapist. He basically, that's how I conceived, that's how you were born. He raped me, and then he would go to other girls and just start start having sex with them as well. And I never cared about your father. And he, the main character is like, no, I don't believe you. But she's like getting closer to him, and he's just like, he's so stunned, like, what is going on? Like, I thought you were in trouble. He's like, I saw you screaming when I was making my way out of Iceland when I was a kid. And she was like, I wasn't screaming. I was, I was laughing in joy and all that. It's just like, you could see like he was being, like, his soul was crushing. But she told him, like, if you kill your uncle, that means we're gonna be king and queen. And she kissed him on the lips, and he pushed her. I think he pushed her away, and she started laughing because she wasn't. She also revealed that she wasn't like a queen from she wasn't a princess from Britannia, if that Britannia, I can't remember what it's called. Old Britain, basically. She was a slave. She even had the mark on her collarbone to prove it, that she was a slave. She was a spoil of war. And he makes his way. He escapes, and he's like just off in the night, and he knows that like he's compromised now, because now she knows who's doing all this, and she knows that her first son, her very first son, which is him, it is the one causing all this mayhem, who's causing all the murder. But before he escapes from the farmland, he goes to kill his uncle's first son. So the uncle, is, like he's still taking the curse, and he's just like he's mourning his dead son. And he's also said, like, his heart is not in his chest. His heart is just, it's gone. Someone took his heart, and he's going. He's like, his wife tells him, like, it's not the curse, it's my son. Think, like, why isn't so and so here? Why isn't that one slave here? Where why would he start targeting specific people? It's my son. My son has come here to kill you. And so he, the uncle starts like putting two together, and he's like, okay, we got to find out who's been helping him. So he lines up all the slaves, and he starts killing some off. Like, okay, who's the one who's working with him? And he gets to the girl, to the witch, the lady witch. I can't remember her name. And she's like, yeah, I helped him, and what are you gonna do? And that's when our main character comes in, and he starts facing off, like killing guys left and right, but he's subdued, and he's put into like this farmhouse where they're interrogating him, and he's like not really, his will is too strong to be broken. So they leave, and one guy's like trying to pull his sword out, the magic sword that can only be pulled out at night. He's trying to do it. He's like, like he gives up, and he just gets out. Once the barn door is closed, you have these crows, and you have a crow, then you have like another crow, and all these crows are coming in, and they start pecking at the rope that he's bound to. And you see behind him, like, it's like another deity. It's another crow. It's like a deity, but it's like some kind of crow god. I don't know who the guy is. And that's aiding him in his escape. So he's able to escape. And the uncle and his wife and the son, everyone else is mourning the death of the first son. And so but he doesn't, the main character doesn't escape in the usual way. It's like the lady witch is like a Valkyrie. She's something, because it shows like he's on her horse, and she's riding off, and like the horse is like going towards this waterfall. It doesn't fall down the waterfall. It's like galloping in the air, and you see it close up on her face, like her eyes are different, and she has like these markings on her teeth, like she's in a Valkyrie. And the uncle mentioned something about like she has the hair of a Valkyrie, but it's like but she's a common whore or something like it. So he said something, so that's why I'm thinking like she's a Valkyrie or something. And this leads to the next day, where he wakes up and he comes to, and he sees that she's like in this natural I can't think of the name. I don't want to say hot tub, but it's basically like one of those osan or something like that, Japanese wise. Onsen. I think that's the right word. But he joins her, and they the scene skips to him going onto the ship with her. And he finds out that he has this vision where she's pregnant with two children. Now I forgot to mention that, like, earlier on in the movie, they mentioned that when he meets the first deity who's like plucking something, she said that you will have two children there, and then one would be a maiden king. And I was like, okay, so he's gonna have he's gonna have a daughter. That daughter is gonna become like a female king, basically. So I was like, okay. So that's what I caught on earlier on, and she's pregnant with twins, and one's a boy, one's a girl, and he sees like the mating, he sees her, and then his two children, and it focuses, and one focuses on like the scene focuses on like the the girl, and because she's the one with the kingly aesthetics on her, like the crown and all that. So this is the part where she's, the lady witch is like, hey, don't go anywhere. Like you have a choice now where you can like stay with us, or you can get revenge. And he's like, I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna try do two things at once. And so he jumps off the ship, swims back to Iceland, and this is where he starts just killing guys left and right. And he eventually gets to the same spot where he saw it, like where his mother revealed the truth to him, only to find that no one's there. But later, she comes out charging to surprise attack him, and I think she does land a couple of shots on him, but he stabs her. He didn't mean to stab her, and she says her last words to him. And then that's when he's so distraught, and he's so distracted that his half brother comes up to him and it's like shanking him, just like on his back, like multiple times, and he pulls him off, and just on that same, like in the same motion, he cuts him. He kills him by with the sword that he has. And he's like, oh no, like he broke his rule, basically, like killing a woman. He doesn't kill women or children, and then, he ends up killing his own kin. So his uncle comes and sees the bodies. He puts his sword into the hilt, grabs his son and grabs his wife, and he's like, I'll meet you at the gate of hell. I think that's what it's called, the gate of hell. And they both agree, agreed, and he walks out. So this leads into the final act where the gates of hell is this volcano. They're literally fighting near a freaking volcano. No, they're fighting on a volcano. I'm sorry, because they have this. I'm getting ahead of myself. But once he's there, he sees the bodies of his mother and his half brother. Does his little prayer, and this is the interesting part, because he doesn't fight in his clothing. They're both naked. You don't see anything additional, but you can tell that they're naked, and the only thing they're fighting with is with swords and shields. And his uncle is a really good fighter. They established that in the first act that I think they established that. Yeah, they established that in the first act where he's a good fighter. And he's struggling. The main character is struggling, but he's able to kill his uncle by decapitating him with this swing, but at the same time his uncle sticks the sword into his heart. So both men end up actually dying, but he completes his quest of revenge, and you see this Valkyrie come down from Valhalla and take the main character, and they're riding off into Valhalla. So this was a really good movie. I did my best with trying to explain it, but you have to watch it. You have to see it because I mean, me just telling you about it is one thing, but you watching it is like another. It's like a whole other experience. And the music, you can hear the chants. Like it reminds me of Skyrim almost. With like you can hear the chants in the music. It's there. It's there. It's all there. I would definitely love to get this movie once it physically releases. I'm gonna put my literally gonna put my ticket into the case of that movie and say, yeah, I was there. I was there. I went to the theaters and see it. But anyway, that's my view of the Northman. So see ya.